After a hellish 4-year stint in non-league football, Notts County earned promotion via the National League playoffs last season to return to the English Football League. And so now, it's time to get him out of the EFL pyramid. Unfortunately, the gaffer that got him out of non-league mysteriously decided to leave his post, and thus, Notts County had to scramble to find a new manager. Meet Harrison S. Armstrong, a mountain of a human being who was born and raised in Nottingham. Also, he looks a lot like this guy. So we'll be using this photo to identify the new gaffer going forward. Armstrong has opted to keep the formations very similar to that of the previous manager, especially since it aligned with the board's vision on how they want their team to play football. As for the squad, most of the players from the National League promotion campaign would still be around for the upcoming season, such as team captain Kyle Cameron, midfielder John Bostock, winger Jody Jones, striker Kedwin Scott, and most importantly, Macaulay Langstaff. In addition, the team had already brought in additional help for the League 2 campaign prior to Armstrong's arrival, such as keeper Aidan Stone, right back Lewis McCarry, and most importantly, veteran forward David McGoldrick, who was making his return to his hometown club, and the board of directors were aiming for at least a EFL League 2 playoff appearance. But Armstrong was aiming a little bit higher than that.
I have a dream!
In fact, his plan was to escape the EFL altogether as soon as humanly possible. But in their return game to League 2, Sutton United would come out victorious in a 4-3 game where Notts had to overcome a 3-1 deficit from the first half, but ended up conceding a goal in the 85th minute to fall flat on their face. The schedule would also bring challenges right off the bat, as a Carabao Cup first round match against the EFL Championship team in Rotherham United came about. They were dominated throughout the game, and it took a combination of luck and a late game goal off set pieces from Jim O'Brien to take Notts County to a penalty kick shootout, where, to their credit, they went toe-to-toe against Rotherham, and after Sam Slocum's save on Sam Klukas, they managed to survive and advance in the League Cup, only to then draw another EFL Championship team in Norwich City in the second round of that competition.
Shit.
Notts did proceed to have positive results for the remainder of August, with wins against the likes of Grimsby Town, Morecambe, Doncaster, and an epic 4-4 draw against Tranmere, where Macaulay Langstaff was showing to be every bit as capable of scoring at this level as he'd been in the National League, having scored 5 goals over those 4 games. They'd need to bring that kind of effort to the second round of the Carabao Cup, as the match would take Notts County over the Carrow Road, where another team 2 tiers above them was more than prepared to not let themselves get upset in the same manner that Rotherham had. What the hell just happened? Macaulay Langstaff was scoring goals like LeBron James was counting titles when he came to the Miami Heat.
Not 2.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4.
5 goals. And along with David McGoldrick getting a brace, they have stunned Norwich City in their own ground and have propelled Notts County to the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, only to then get immediately drawn against Everton for the 3rd round.
Title fight? Get in there! Get in there!
But as August came to an end, Armstrong hadn't been the biggest fan of how some of those wins during the month had come, given the amount of goals surrendered between Aidan Stone and Sam Slocum. So as the summer transfer deadline window came to a close, they managed to secure a loan for Leeds United shot-stopper Danny van der Heuvel to take over starting keeper duties, and then he capped it off with a free agent fullback.
That's gotta be Kane!
Yes, the former Chelsea trainee Todd Kane is coming to Meadow Lane on a free transfer, and he should provide some coverage on the right wing along with Aaron Nemane. The defense provides a stronger performance to start September, with wins over Accrington Stanley in their first game of the EFL Trophy against Wolverhampton's U21 team, and in an away fixture against MK Dons. It's a good thing Armstrong brought in goalie coverage when he did, The team continues to perform as Aiden Baldwin snags a late winner against Salford at the expense of a pole tie, but the new gaffer at Knots is a subscriber of the Neo Warnock School of Footballing Philosophy.
You've got to die to get 3 points!
Exactly. And so, they continue to go through League 2 as a David McGoldrick brace gets them a win against Forest Green, but then reality comes over and smacks them in the face, because they got Everton in the Carabao Cup, and while the first half is a valiant effort, Dashball via Beto, Priveos, and the Toffees and Knots' run in this cup. It was something which Colchester proceeded to pounce on during the next League 2 game, as they took a 3-0 lead in the first half, and not even Knots can come back from all of that. The nature of those losses and how they came about are enough to bring forth Armstrong's taskmaster tendencies.
Wrong with it! Get your fingers out with your bottle gun and come pay attention when I'm talking to you!
Whatever happened in the 5 days between their loss to Colchester and the matchup against Swindon Town, we'll never know. But it did lead into an October that saw Notts County shine by winning 5 of their next 7 and drawing the other 2, including a EFL Trophy League stage win against Barnsley and beating Wrexham at Meadow Lane as a minor bit of revenge for last season's National League title race.
Fuck you and your shite. You can shove your shite documentary up your arse.
Yeah, yeah.
Although it would have been really nice to go through the stretch without their loaned starting goalie breaking his finger during the Barnsley game and being out for the next month, or Jody Jones breaking his ribs and being out for 2 to 3 months. Injury hell aside, the FA Cup draw for the first round came around and Notts County would have League 1 team in Exeter City on deck for the early part of November. The first round game isn't a whole lot to write home about other than Notts drew them 1-1 and forced a replay of that game at Meadow Lane, where first half goals by Adam Chickson and Sam Austin are enough to help Notts County advance to the second round, where they would meet a fellow League 2 team and rivals, Mansfield Town. Rumors of a possible takeover in ownership throughout November aren't enough to deter Notts' form as they go through the group stages and onto the knockouts of the EFL Trophy after a win against Harrogate Town. Then followed that with victories over Crewe Alexandra, Bradford City, and Crawley, with only AFC Wimbledon holding them to a draw. Speaking of draws, Notts County did the same thing with Mansfield Town as they did with Exeter City, where they drew the first leg on the road, then proceeded to win the replay at Meadow Lane, although that draw did lead to Macaulay Langstaff getting a fractured cheekbone during the game. Not to worry though, the man has 25 goals so far in this campaign across all competitions, and he's hungry for more. So they get him over to a specialist, put him in one of those school masks that gave Victor Osimhen superpowers last year for the next 7 to 8 weeks, and we're good to go for December. A win against Morecambe on penalties in the second round of the EFL Trophy that went all the way to the 9th round of those until somebody missed, and a draw against Walsall happened in between those FA Cup games, and from there, wins against Harrogate Town, Doncaster, and Morecambe, along with a draw to Stockport County, kept Notts County at the top of the standings, although Colchester and Gillingham were right on their tail during this whole month. We move on to January and the winter transfer window, and like clockwork, an offer from the higher leagues comes to Macaulay Langstaff. Armstrong, however, does work out some magic as he convinces Langstaff and his agent that Macca is worth way more than just a measly 1 to 2 million, and thus convinces them to not take anything lower than 5 million. Thus, Armstrong is more than safe to tell Derby County to go chase themselves and decline their offer entirely. But while the month started well with a win over Tranmere in League 2, the next few weeks in January would be the first rough patch they've hit in a while. Their FA Cup third round match against Sheffield Wednesday saw Simon Zaza put on a show and give their entire fanbase something to root for. That isn't their current owner's imminent and swift demise. 4 days later, Wigan Athletic would knock Notts County out of the EFL Trophy knockout stages with a 2-1 victory. Grimsby Town smelled blood, and just a few days later, they handed Notts County their worst loss in League 2 as of yet by scoring 3 goals in the first 15 minutes. And that loss basically put Colchester only a point behind them for the League 2 lead. The rematch against Sutton United, thankfully, saw a much better defensive performance as they managed a clean sheet against them. It was around this time in which Oxford United came with an offer for Aaron Nemanev of $170,000, The sale was completed just before a Langstaff hat-trick that led Knots to a win over Stockport County. In order to shore up the defense further after the Nemane sale, Armstrong once again found himself looking over Leeds United's roster and bringing in young defender Leo Fjorhelde on a loan for the remainder of the season. Hjelde would immediately figure in as player of the match as Knots managed a 1-0 win to wrap up January against Barrow. February yielded a mixed bag of results. They managed victories against Gillingham and Crewe Alexandra at home, but had a pair of 3-3 draws to Mansfield and Newport County on the road with late goal dramatics for those draws, plus a loss to Wrexham at the racecourse. Thank goodness it's not for deciding a whole championship this time around. With 11 games left and being 7 points ahead of Colchester, Armstrong's sights were firmly set now on ending the season with more than just a promotion berth, especially since he had the leading scorer in the entire league with 26 goals in Macaulay Langstaff. But March would yield some more surprises, as a draw to Bradford City, who are now managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for some reason, and an injury to Kyle Cameron were not the best start to the final stretch of the season. Thankfully, a Langstaff brace then carried Knots to a win against AFC Wimbledon, and they followed that 4-1 win with a not-so-stellar pair of losses to Crawley Town and Accrington Stanley, which now have Colchester biting at their heels for the top spot in the League 2 table.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
And their goalie depth is pretty much gone. But Notts County grits their teeth, and they manage a tough win against Salford to stay ahead of Colchester by 3 points. And while they end up having to sacrifice Jody Jones's groin during the game against Swindon Town, they also managed to win that, and with it secure at minimum a playoff spot in the EFL League 2. Armstrong promptly one-ups that by defeating MK Dons to start April, and that win at Meadow Lane 100% secures their spot as one of the 3 teams who will be going up to League 1 next season. But with 4 games to go, a slugfest against Harrogate Town soon followed and carried through a Langstaff hat-trick that brought him to 32 goals in League 2, Notts County won 6-3, and then followed that performance by going to Walsall and coming away with a 4-0 win, to then set up a showdown against Colchester at Meadow Lane for the League 2 title itself. Colchester needed to win this to have a chance at pulling the rug from under Notts County's feet, while the Magpies only needed a single point out of this game to guarantee their title.
2 hours later.
A 2-2 draw later, and Notts County are your 2023-24 League 2 champions. For Harrison Armstrong, the game against Forest Green is a bit of a formality, but the side that is now managed by former Notts County gaffer Luke Williams does put up a fight, and it ends up being a 2-2 draw. It was the Magpies' offense that carried them through this season, scoring 112 goals in total in League 2, only 5 shy of what they'd done previously in the National League. Macaulay Langstaff yet again broke his goal-scoring record across all competitions in Notts County record books by scoring 44 total goals this season and leading League 2 with 34 goals in total, which was more than enough to earn him the League 2 Player of the Season honors. Their success also helped them repairing some of the club's financial damage 2 years ahead of schedule. The real challenge was now set as they went further up the English pyramid, joined by Colchester, Gillingham, and Crawley Town. But this is only the first stage in Armstrong's plan. Now, the road led him up the pyramid into EFL's League 1, and it was time for the gaffer to plot out his next great escape.
Flashback to the future!
Ah,